Hi everyone, welcome back. This week we are going to finish the book of Deuteronomy. That is the fifth book of the Bible. So this also finishes what is called the Pentateuch. I believe that's how you say it. That's the first five books of the Bible. Starts from when God created the heavens and the earth up through the Mosaic Law and the Israelites about to enter into the Promised Land. All right, so let's get started. Chapter 31, the Lord's leadership. When Moses had finished speaking these words to all of Israel, he said to them, I am now 120 years old and am no longer able to move about freely. Besides, the Lord told me that I shall not cross this Jordan, the river Jordan. It is the Lord your God who will cross before you. He will destroy these nations before you, that you may supplant them. It is Joshua who will cross before you, as the Lord promised. The Lord will deal with them just as he dealt with Sihon and Og, the kings of the Amorites, whom he destroyed, and with their country. When therefore the Lord delivers them up to you, you must deal with them exactly as I have ordered you. Be brave and steadfast, have no fear or dread of them, for it is the Lord your God who marches with you. He will never fail you or forsake you. Then Moses summoned Joshua, and in the presence of all Israel he said to him, Be brave and steadfast, for you must bring you. I got a typo here. It says you must being this people. Yeah, it's supposed to be bring. You must bring this people into the land which the Lord swore to their fathers he would give them. You must put them in possession of their heritage. It is the Lord who marches before you. He will be with you, and he will never fail you or forsake you. So do not fear or be dismayed. When Moses had written down this law, he entrusted it to the Levitical priests who carry the ark of the covenant of the Lord, and to all the elders of Israel, giving them this order. On the Feast of Booths, at the prescribed time in the year of relaxation, which comes at the end of every 7-year period, when all Israel goes to appear before the Lord your God, in the place which he chooses, you shall read this law aloud in the presence of all Israel. Assemble the people, men, women, and children, as well as the aliens who live in your communities, that they may hear it and learn it, and so fear the Lord your God, and carefully observe all the words of this law. Their children also, who do not know it yet, must hear it and learn it, that they too may fear the Lord your God as long as you live on the land which you will cross the Jordan to occupy. The Lord said to Moses, The time is now approaching for you to die. Summon Joshua and present yourselves at the meeting tent, that I may give him his commission. So Moses and Joshua went and presented themselves at the meeting tent, and the Lord appeared at the tent in a column of cloud, which stood still at the entrance of the tent. The Lord said to Moses, Soon you will be at rest with your fathers. And then this people will take to rendering wanton worship to the strange gods among whom they will live in the land they are about to enter. They will forsake me and break the covenant which I have made with them. At that time my anger will flare up against them. I will forsake them and hide my face from them, so that they will become prey to be devoured, and many evils and troubles will befall them. At that time they will indeed say, Is it not because our God is not among us that these evils have befallen us? Yet I will be hiding my face from them at that time only because of all the evil they have done in turning to other gods. Write out this song, then, for yourselves. Teach it to the Israelites and have them recite it, so that this song may be a witness for me against the Israelites. For when I have brought them into the land flowing with milk and honey, which I have promised on oath to their fathers, and they have eaten their fill and grown fat, if they turn to other gods and serve them, despising me and breaking my covenant, then, when many evils and troubles befall them, this song, which their descendants will not have forgotten to recite, will bear witness against them. For I know what they are inclined to do even at the present time before I have brought them into the land, which I promised on oath to their fathers. So Moses wrote this song that same day, and he taught it to the Israelites. Then the Lord commissioned Joshua, son of Nun, and said to him, Be brave and steadfast, for it is you who must bring the Israelites into the land which I promised them on oath. I myself will be with you. When Moses had finished writing out on a scroll the words of the law in their entirety, he gave the Levites who carried the ark of the covenant of the Lord this order. Take this scroll of the law and put it beside the ark of the covenant of the Lord your God, that there it may be a witness against you. For I already know how rebellious and stiff-necked you will be. Why, even now, while I am alive among you, you have been rebels against the Lord. How much more then after I am dead? Therefore, assemble all your tribal elders and your officials before me, that I may speak these words for them to hear, and so may call heaven and earth to witness against them. For I know that after my death you are sure to become corrupt and to turn aside from the way along which I directed you, so that evil will befall you in some future age, because you have done evil in the Lord's sight and provoked him by your deeds. Then Moses recited the words of this song from beginning to end for the whole assembly of Israel to hear. And then chapter 32 is the Song of Moses. It is pretty long, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue and then do the whole Song of Moses at the end. So if you want to stick around and hear all of that, stick around to the end. But for now, we're going to jump to the end, verse 44 of chapter 32. So do the Song of Moses, and then verse 34. So Moses, together with Joshua son of Nun, went and recited all the words of this song for the people to hear. When Moses had finished speaking all these words to all Israel, he said, "Take to heart all the warnings which I have now given you, and which you must impress on your children, that you may carry out carefully every word of this law. For this is no trivial matter for you. Rather, it means your very life, since it is by this means that you are to enjoy a long life on the land which you will cross the Jordan to occupy." On that very day the Lord said to Moses, "Go up on Mount Nebo, here in the Abiram mountains. It is in this land of Moab facing Jericho, and view the land of Canaan, which I am giving the Israelites as their possession. Then you shall die on the mountain you have climbed, and shall be taken to your people, just as your brother Aaron died on Mount Hor, and there he was taken to his people, because both of you broke faith with me among the Israelites at the waters of Meribah Kadesh in the desert of Zin, by failing to manifest my sanctity among the Israelites. You may indeed view the land at a distance, but you shall not enter that land which I am giving to the Israelites." Chapter 33. This is the blessing which Moses, the man of God, pronounced upon the Israelites before he died. He said, "The Lord came from Sinai and dawned on his people from Seir. He shone forth from Mount Paran and advanced from Meribah Kadesh, while at his right hand a fire blazed forth, and his wrath devastated the nations. But all his holy ones were in his hand, and they followed at his feet, and he bore them up on his pinions. A law he gave to us. He made the community of Jacob his domain, and he became king of his darling. When the chiefs of the people assembled, and the tribes of Israel came together, may Reuben live and not die out, but let his men be few. The following is for Judah, he said. The Lord hears the cry of Judah. You will bring him to his people. His own hands defend his cause, and you will be his help against his foes. Of Levi, he said, to Levi belong your Thummim, to the man of your favor your Urim, for you put him to the test at Massah, and you contended with him at the waters of Meribah. He said of his father, I regard him not. His brothers he would not acknowledge, and his own children he refused to recognize. Thus the Levites keep your words, and your covenant they uphold. They promulgate your decisions to Jacob, and your law to Israel. They bring the smoke of sacrifice to your nostrils, and burn offerings to your altar. Bless, O Lord, his possessions, and accept the ministry of his hands. Break the backs of his adversaries and of his foes, that they may not rise. Of Benjamin he said, Benjamin is the beloved of the Lord, who shelters him all the day, while he abides securely at his breast. Of Joseph he said, Blessed by the Lord is his land, with the best of the skies above and of the abyss crouching beneath, with the best of the produce of the year and the choicest sheaves of the months, with the finest gifts of the age-old mountains and the best from the timeless hills, with the best of the earth at its fullness and the favor of him who dwells in the bush. There shall come upon the head of Joseph and upon the brow of the prince among his brothers, the majestic bull, his father's firstborn, whose horns are those of the wild ox, with which to gore the nations, even those at the ends of the earth. These are the myriads of myriads of Ephraim, and these are the thousands of Manasseh. Of Zebulun he said, Rejoice, O Zebulun, in your pursuits, and you, Issachar, in your tents. You who invite the tribes to the mountains, where feasts are duly held, because you suck up the abundance of the seas and the hidden treasures of the sand. Of God he said, Blessed be he who has made God so vast. He lies there like a lion that has seized the arm and the head of his prey. He saw that the best should be his when the princely portion was assigned, while the heads of the people were gathered. He carried out the justice of the Lord and his decrees respecting Israel. Of Dan he said, Dan is a lion's whelp that springs forth from Bashan. Of Naphtali he said, Naphtali is enriched with favors and filled with the blessings of the Lord. The lake and south of it are his possession. Of Asher he said, More blessed than the other sons be Asher. May he be the favorite among his brothers, as the oil of his olive trees runs over his feet. May your bolt be of iron and bronze. May your strength endure through all of your days. There is no God like the God of the darling, who rides the heavens in his power and rides the skies in majesty. He spreads out the primeval tent. He extended the ancient canopy. He drove the enemy out of your way, and the Amorite he destroyed. Israel has dwelt securely, and the fountain of Jacob has been undisturbed. In a land of grain and wine, where the heavens drip with dew, how fortunate you are, O Israel! Where else is a nation victorious in the Lord? The Lord is your saving shield, and his word is your glory. Your enemies fawn upon you, and your stride upon their heights. Chapter 34. Then Moses went up from the plains of Moab to Mount Nebo, the headland of Pisgah, which faces Jericho, and the Lord showed him all the land, Gilead, and as far as Dan, all Naphtali and the land of Ephraim and Manasseh, and all the land of Judah as far as the western sea, the Negeb, the circuit of the Jordan, with the lowlands of Jericho, the city of palms, and as far as Zor. The Lord then said to him, This is the land which I swore to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, that I would give to their descendants. I have let you feast your eyes upon it, but you shall not cross over. So there, in the land of Moab, Moses, the servant of the Lord, died as the Lord had said, and he was buried in the ravine opposite Beth Peor in the land of Moab. But to this day, no one knows the place of his burial. Moses was 120 years old when he died, yet his eyes were undimmed and his vigor unabated. For 30 days the Israelites wept for Moses in the plains of Moab, till they had completed the period of grief and mourning for Moses. Now Joshua, son of Nun, was filled with the spirit of wisdom, since Moses had laid his hands upon him, and so the Israelites gave him their obedience, thus carrying out the Lord's command to Moses. Since then, no prophet has arisen in Israel like Moses, whom the Lord knew face to face. He had no equal in all the signs and wonders the Lord sent him to perform in the land of Egypt against Pharaoh and all of his servants, and against all his land, and for the might and the terrifying power that Moses exhibited in the sight of all Israel. And that is the end of the book of Deuteronomy. The next book is the book of Joshua. Just the same Joshua we've been talking about, because he will be the one to lead the Israelites into the promised land. So, again, I'm going to read the Song of Moses, but for anyone who is losing attention span, let's go ahead and say the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. All right, for anyone leaving, hope you have a great rest of your week. I will see you next Sunday. And for anyone who hasn't clicked away yet, chapter 32, the Song of Moses. Again, it's kind of recapping what happened over the last 40 years, even before that. But it's not going to sound like a song because it's been translated. This was not originally written in American English, but this would have been like a song to the Israelites. So okay, and a song is easier to remember. That's my understanding of why would they already had the law. Why would you recite and have them learn a song? My understanding and what makes the most sense to me is that a song is easier to remember than a bunch of legal matters. All right, chapter 32. Give ear, O heavens, while I speak. Let the earth hearken to the words of my mouth. May my instruction soak in like the rain, and my discourse permeate like the dew. So let it soak in like the rain. Make sure you remember it. Like a downpour upon the grass, like a shower upon the crops. For I will sing the Lord's renown. O proclaim the greatness of our God. The rock, how faultless are his deeds, how right all his ways. A faithful God without deceit. How just and upright he is. Yet basely has he been treated by his degenerate children, a perverse and crooked race. Is the Lord to be thus repaid by you, O stupid and foolish people? Is he not your Father who created you? Has he not made you and established you? Think back on the days of old. Reflect on the years of age upon age. Ask your father, and he will inform you. Ask your elders, and they will tell you. When the Most High assigned the nations their heritage, when he parceled out the descendants of Adam, he set up the boundaries of the peoples after the number of the sons of God. While the Lord's own portion was Jacob, his hereditary share was Israel. He found them in a wilderness, a wasteland of howling desert. He shielded them and cared for them, guarding them as an apple of his eye. As an eagle incites its nestlings forth by hovering over its brood, so he spreads his wings to receive them, and bore them up on his pinions. The Lord alone was their leader. No strange god was with him. He had them ride triumphant over the summits of the land, and live off the products of its fields, giving them honey to suck from its rocks and olive oil from its hard, stony ground, butter from its cows and milk from its sheep, with the fat of its lambs and rams, its Bashan bulls and its goats, with the cream of its finest wheat, and the foaming blood of its grapes you drank. So Jacob ate his fill. The darling grew fat and frisky. You became fat and gross and gorged. They spurned the God who made them, and scorned their saving rock. They provoked him with strange gods and angered him with abominable idols. They offered sacrifice to demons, to no gods, to gods whom they had not known before, to newcomers just arrived, of whom their fathers had never stood in awe. You were unmindful of the rock that begot you. You forgot the God who gave you birth. When the Lord saw this, he was filled with loathing and anger towards his sons and daughters. I will hide my face from them, he said, and see what will then become of them. What a fickle race they are, sons with no loyalty in them. Since they have provoked me with their no God, and angered me with their vain idols, I will provoke them with no people. With a foolish nation I will anger them. For by my wrath a fire is enkindled, that shall rage to the depths of the netherworld, consuming the earth with its yield, and licking with flames the roots of the mountains. I will spend on them woe upon woe, and exalt all my arrows against them. Emaciating hunger and consuming fever, and bitter pestilence and the teeth of wild beasts I will send among them, with the venom of reptiles gliding in the dust. Snatched away by the sword in the street, and by sheer terror at home, shall be the youth and the maiden alike. The nursing babe as well as the hoary old man, I would have said, I will make an end of them, and blot out their name from men's memories. Had I not feared the insolence of their enemies, feared that these foes would mistakenly boast, our own hand won the victory. The Lord had nothing to do with it. For they are a people devoid of reason, having no understanding. If they had insight, they would realize what happened. They would understand their future and say, how could one man rout 1,000, or 2 men put 10,000 to flight, unless it was because their rock sold them and the Lord delivered them up? Indeed, their rock is not like our rock, and our foes are under condemnation. They are a branch of Sodom's vine stalk from the vineyards of Gomorrah. Poisonous are their grapes, and bitter their clusters. Their wine is the venom of dragons, and the cruel poison of cobras. Is not this preserved in my treasury, sealed up in my storehouse? Against the day of vengeance and requital, against the time they lose their footing. Close at hand is the day of their disaster, and their doom is rushing upon them. Surely the Lord shall do justice for his people. On his servants he shall have pity when he sees their strength failing and their protected and unprotected alike disappearing. He will say, where are their gods whom they relied on as their rock? Let those who ate the fat of your sacrifices and drank the wine of your libations rise up and help you. Let them be your protection. Learn then that I alone am God, and there is no God besides me. It is I who bring forth death and life, I who inflict wounds and heal them, and from my hand there is no rescue. To the heavens I raise my hand and swear, as surely as I live forever, I will sharpen my flashing sword, and my hand shall lay hold of my quiver. With vengeance I will repay my foes, and requite those who hate me. Requite those who hate me. I will make my arrows drunk with blood, and my sword shall gorge itself with flesh, with the blood of the slain and the captured, flesh from the heads of the enemy leaders. Exalt with him, you heavens, glorify him, all you angels of God, for he avenges the blood of his servants and purges his people's land. That's the Song of Moses, to remind the Israelites, as the generations go on, who their God is, who they serve. Who, not just their God, but our God, the God of the world. All right, so anyway, it doesn't sound like a song in modern English, doesn't even rhyme, because, again, it's been translated, but still would have been easier. It's, even if you look at it, I'll show you. The majority of the Bible looks kind of like this. You see how it's like across the whole, like 2 columns on each page, it's across, just a lot of words. The song looks like this. See how it's kind of in stanzas almost? It looks more like a song and not just straight text across. So that's that. So anyways, I hope you do have a great rest of your week. I will see you next Sunday. So, wait, yeah, because today's Easter next Sunday, I believe. I'm shooting this early, so I'm doing math in my head for what date it is. Anyway, I believe the Sunday after the Sunday this goes up will be Easter, so we will do special Easter readings. And then we are going to, since we have now finished the Pentateuch, we will have, that'll be week 50, I believe is Easter. Week 51, or 52, week 52, we're going to do something a little different because it's working at the end of the first year of these weekly videos, which is crazy. Time's out just finishing the end of the Pentateuch, the first 5 books of the Bible. I want to do a kind of a summary, like let's hit the highlights, in case anyone wants to join us late. Highlights of the beginning of the Bible. We'll start with Adam and Eve and we'll go through the Israelites, but in one video, to remind everybody of the names that you might hear a lot, that you hear referenced throughout the rest of the Bible, the common names you'll hear in the readings on Sundays. So we'll do that. I believe that'll be week 52. And then week 53, we will start the book of Joshua and head into the Promised Land. All right, I will stop there. Have a great week. Bye.